I'm in San Francisco, and Lanny, you are in New Hampshire, and
Yep, in New Hampshire.
I'm gonna let you commission the lights and the controls that are on my dining room table here in San Francisco. So the first thing is that our wireless gateway is plugged in, and we need to connect the computer to that. So Lanny, can you go up to the Wi-Fi list and see if you can find Vive-something? Okay, that's the one. And can you verify that it selected Vive? It did, so we're on that. That's great. Now can you open a browser window? Okay, and can you type in 192.168.3.1? Okay, so that's the software which resides on that device. So let's use the web browser. Keep using the web browser. Good. So yes, we want to set up this hub. So can you please rename that as Vive Hub North? If you guys notice, Lanny is doing this herself. I'm just telling her what she should be doing. Okay. Why don't you click on OK at the bottom to accept the cookies? We'll get that off the screen. Great. So we need a password. Let's type in mesh1234. And you may notice that it says medium. That means medium strength, so it can use that. Let's click on done. Good. So it kicked us off the hub because we password protected it, and we need to rejoin that hub once it's on our Wi-Fi list. It probably isn't on it yet. You can click on that to check if you want. So it went on to Xfinity, because I have it set up to do that. We don't see the Vive Hub North in the list yet because it takes a little while. There it is. Okay, and now you can type in the password. Do you want to check just, well, okay, it's on the software, so we know for sure that it connected to the right thing.
Skip intro?
Yeah, let's skip the intro. There's a lot of descriptive stuff here in these programs now. We're not going to update the hub software. Click OK. And let's go to Rooms Areas, and let's create, we'll cancel these helps, these tip screens. Let's add a room area, and let's call it Private Office 1. Okay, so we want to pair a switch with this, and the trade name in this system is called Pico. So let's click on that. Now it's telling me what I need to do, and I need to physically take the switch and hold the bottom button to pair this physical device with that physical fixture. And first, I need to plug in the fixture, because of course, if I don't plug in the fixture, then it means that it won't possibly be able to find it. So now that I've done that, I'm going to hold up that switch. I'm going to press that bottom button down, and that signals the system that I'm trying to pair it with something. So there we go. It registered. And now let's see if it found that fixture. Click on Continue. Okay, so we have a fixture. So let's click on Got It. You want to flash it to check. We know it's the only fixture powered, so it has to be that one. Okay, so stop flashing. Let's add it with the plus sign on the right. We're adding it to the system, well, to the switch. And let's give it a tag. Let's call it Private Office 1. Good, and add. Okay, you can click on Next on the upper right. Good. Let's go to the Favorite button. That's a preset in the middle. Why don't we change that to, what do you think? What percentage?
10%. 15%.
Okay, change it
What
to
do you,
15.
okay.
You can hit preview if you'd like, and it should bring it down to that level. Okay, that dimmed a little bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on save. You know, of course, doing this by video, it's a little hard for you guys to see the impact because the camera lens is going to automatically adjust as the lights dim up and down, but hopefully we'll be able to see it. Okay, let's click on done. Yep, click on go to rooms, click on private office 1. Okay, go to control lights, and then click on the Pico 1, the switch on the bottom, and there you have all 5 buttons. Do you want to go through the buttons and explain what we should be seeing?
Sure. So if you click this up arrow, that increases the amount of light that comes out. You can see that going up. The down arrow will reduce the amount of light if you hold it down. If you hold it down, it should go off completely, right?
Normally it doesn't.
Okay.
Normally it only takes it to the bottom of the dimming range, which is probably 1%.
The bottom button is the off button.
That's full off, right?
Full off. Full on is the top button.
Full on.
And then the star in the middle is the favorites. So it'll bring it back down to what we said is the favorite, which was 15%.
That's the favorite or the preset, so 15%. Good. So let's back up now one screen. Let's go into energy. And if you notice, it looks like we're saving 80%. Now the light level is down to 15%, and we might think that we should be saving 85%, but the energy savings is not always proportional to the light level. So we're saving a lot of energy. It's just not exactly equal to the amount of light level that we have. Okay, but that's a lot of savings. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. So let's click back again. And back one more time. And let's add another room area. And let's call this Open Office Primary Daylight. And while you're doing that, I'm going to plug that fixture in. Okay.
So I set that room up. Are we going to add a Pico for this one as well?
Yes, and actually, I'm going to manually turn off the first light with my switch here. We don't need to have that on anymore. So yes, we're going to set up a Pico, right? The switch, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the appropriate switch now. Same thing. I'm going to hold that button down for 10 seconds. That will register with the system. It's telling the system that we're trying to pair it. And now it's going to search for any possible wireless control devices. And there's one tied in with that fixture, and let's flash that and check and see if that's the right one. Okay, we flashed it. We found the right one. So let's stop that and add it. And then let's add a tag and let's call it Open Office Primary Daylight. Well, look, no hands. Lanny is doing this from New Hampshire. Okay.
Very exciting.
Let's go to next. Okay, now in this case, we have to add the wattage in. And the reason for that is because this is a different type of controller for the fixture that does not have an integral metering chip. So we have to actually determine the maximum wattage so that we have an appropriate baseline number. So I have a meter here, and for this one fixture, it says 31 watts. So go ahead and type in 31. If we had a whole circuit of these, we'd need to know the total, right? Okay, click on next. Okay, why don't we make this favorite button 1%? You know, normally it probably wouldn't be 1%, but we're going to just go crazy here. Okay. We're saving it. Okay, let's click on Done on the upper right. Okay, I'm going to hit the favorite button and let's see if we can see it go down to 1%. I think so. That's at a very minimum level, right? So that worked. We just set it up very quickly. Boom, boom, boom. All done. That's great. We can set various variables such as tuning. Why don't you just click in tuning just so people can see what that looks like? So we can set a tuned level. We can set this to never go above a certain percentage. We won't bother with that now, but just to show everybody that there are a lot of options in these systems. Let's go back and let's add in another device. And now we're going to add in our daylight sensor or photo sensor. They call it daylight sensor. That's fine with me. So it's showing you exactly what to do. I have to do that physically on the device. I'm going to hold the appropriate button for 10 seconds. And once I do, and it registers, you may be able to see the light flashing in the device. That's also a visual cue telling you that we're pairing this one. Okay, what do you think? Do you think that's the right fixture?
I think so, because it is tagged.
It's tagged, so we know, right? So that shows you the importance of being methodical with this stuff. You could flash it if you want, but we know it's the right fixture, right?
Correct.
So if it is, then go ahead and add it. Okay, so this is saying we can put it in row 1 or row 2. I wish that had said primary daylight and secondary. That's okay. We'll just say that row 1 is the primary daylight zone closest to the window. So let's click on next. So far, so good. We're done with this. That's great. Okay, so let's click on back. And back once more. Okay, so we have the main screen now for the entire hub. Actually, let's go back into rooms, areas, and let's go into the open office primary daylight zone. Okay. All right, so why don't you click on energy? So this is just for that one zone that we just created. So at the minimum level of light output, which is probably about 1%, it looks like we have a 6% energy usage. We have 94% savings. So again, at certain points in the range, it's not exactly proportional to the light level. If I turn the light off with the switch, we got 100% savings. If I turn the light full on with the switch, we have 0% savings. Okay? And as I dim it down, which I'm doing physically with the switch here in San Francisco, we can see that we can save different amounts of energy. So this works very well, right? If I turn it off, 100%. Now, I'm going to turn this back on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the photo sensor. I'm going to do that by putting the actual device into a test mode. So that light tells me that it's now in a test mode. So what I'm going to do is shine a light on this photo sensor. And if you notice, that's plenty of light on the photo sensor to turn the light completely off. If I cover the photo sensor, it's going to turn on. And let's see how much light that is. Okay, it looks like there's a lag in the metering. Not sure exactly why. Sometimes that happens in these systems. That's just real life. We don't know exactly why there's a lag, but there is a lag. Doesn't matter because the important thing is for the lights to do what we want them to do. Okay, I've shined the light back on the sensor. It goes full off. If I cover the sensor, it should come back on again, probably to full. All right, there's a lag with the meter. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. There's nothing here that's critical from a time perspective. But if you notice, this really works. And by the way, if you notice, as I change the amount of light on the sensor by partially covering it, you may be able to see the lights dimming up and down. If I bring the photo sensor up to my window, this is not even direct sunlight. It's sort of indirect, but it's enough daylight that it's actually turning off. So that's pretty amazing. All right, let me take this out of the test mode because that worked really well. So, okay, we've got our fixtures here down at their favorite levels. So I think we're pretty good. What do you think, Lanny? Do you have any other questions about what we've seen or anything to add?
No, no other questions. I think it really shows you how easily it is to, connect these and manage it, the system, even remotely.
Right, so Lanny really set that whole thing up. All I had to do was physically hold the buttons down. So you could see that this is a very effective thing to do, even when we have to do this virtually.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.